and ready to our slab level. So we're actually backfilling this portion with gravel. Now, all the gravel that we're going to use for under the slabs is always 3/4 unwashed. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it is truly dirty gravel. Doesn't matter to us at this point. We're going to cover it in concrete, but it's less expensive than the washed gravel. So this gets filled up with the gravel, it's been compacted. The crew's already come through and
this is 5 feet.
Yeah, okay.
I thought that you please I said insignia on it right there. Right here it says insignia, but it says insignia. It looks the same with the insignia.
Okay.
You know? So,
Okay. Nice to hear.
talk to our law.
says you got today.
Yep. Okay.
It's an insignia though, you know?
That's okay.
It says Velcro on it, you know?
Yeah.
Line for our top of slab. This helps everybody kind of understand the relation between the grade level inside the garages and the grade level inside of the house. In this case, this house is going to have about 1 step from the garage into the house. We'll keep those garage floors down just a bit so that we can contain any water or moisture that happens inside of that garage. We have the exact same garage layout on the front. The crew is just starting to get all the gravel set in that. They got this garage prepped and ready yesterday. The front one will get prepped and ready today. Our plumber just arrived, so they're going to wrap up all of our subgrade plumbing. We'll get it inspected in 2 days, and we'll get the HVAC going. So stay tuned because this project is one I am very excited about. It's a little different, really amazing homeowners, and it's going to be a fun one to watch. You guys know you can find more videos at Stephanie Built It. We'll see you next time on The Build Show.
He's got other people coming in.
Family members?
No, he's got other clients coming in.
Oh, I think family members coming from Arizona.
He has that, but that's none of my business. It's none of my beeswax.
It is your beeswax.
Oh, hey guys, how you doing? We're gonna do a tour of my shop today. We're gonna talk about storage and organization, how I've got it set it up, and the products I use to do it. It's pretty cool stuff, so stay tuned.
Come see Eric Ani at Build Show Live. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description for tickets.
No. I think they're $1,500 each, so that's
One check?
no.
Oh, hey guys, how you doing? No, so let's talk about storage and organization, what we did here in the shop. I bought a product called Lev Rack. I've been using this product for a number of years. It's manufactured down in Nebraska. Not sponsored, just going to show you what I spent my money on and what I think works well for me. This is a pallet racking system, and the big draw to me was that it has these indexing kind of like library type of shelving system that is riding on a trolley racking system built right into the pallet racking overhead. So they're not gliding on the floor. I could put this over a dirt floor. It would work just fine. And it gives me the ability to put just an overwhelming amount of materials. Sometimes it's really well organized. Sometimes it's not, I admit, but it gives me a place to index everything. These 6 different shelving units contain a multitude of things. For the most part, these first 3 are pipe, valve, and fitting kind of boxes and organizers and whatnot. And then I get into some consumables and some pumps are down there. I've got flashings and things like that. And then I've got some electrical and wire and thermostat wire, wire nuts, all that kind of stuff right there, sealants. This is really my everyday, I'm in and out of these shelving units to restock, reload, or prepare for a job. And when you compare it to something like just shelving, like racking, like what is above, there's no way I could have a system as well organized, even when it's messy, as I can on these shelves if I were using just an overhead racking, like a deep shelf system like that. I love it. It takes up less space. It gives me the maximum amount of storage kind of per square foot, per lineal foot. Again, over top though, because this is a pallet racking kind of system, we have bulk storage. And I extended the length here. We've only got like that set of the drawers or the shelving units. On that end, we extend here, we've got kind of bulk heavy tool storage. Sewer cameras, drain machines, attachments for press tools, you name it. I've got a tank sprayer up there. I've got all of my bulk tubing for PEX tubing, gas piping for burial, you name it, copper tubing up there in a roll. It gives me easy access to it, gets it up off the floor, out of my way. I like that. And over the top, this is 20 feet long, this section right here. Okay, these two sections assembled in total are 20 feet. If you look at the very top here, that black bag, that contains PEX tubing. And there's a whole bunch of tubing up top there. There's some 21-foot gas pipe links and steel pipe, like galvanized and iron pipe, stuff like that. Half, 3/4, 1 inch, 1.25 inch, and a half PEX. I've got a nice long flat racking system. I can get up on a ladder and store that in. It keeps it organized, flat, and I like that. I buy those straight links because working with those rolls of tubing, in my opinion, are a real pain in the butt. There's a place for both. The bulk of the kind of plastic tubing and stuff like that that I'm using on a weekly basis is going to come off of that top rack there and be installed as a straight stick. It's just nicer. I've got over on the end over there, I've got like my charging station. So we've got batteries and battery chargers and racking for those right here, the various different types, because we position an electrical over on the wall right here. I could get even further organized with this than I am already, but we could do quick access with some magnets or maybe drilling into the sides of that. Nice sticker, my buddy Mark Willie, by the way, of the Build Show on there. This is really my everyday in and out for the bulk storage tools. Really invested in the pack out system. It's not just lev rack that's making this work for me. Pack out is a huge part of my day to day because whether I'm storing specific tools in here like this REMS battery operated pipe threader, I've got a pipe bender in there, I've got a pipe press tool there. This one actually has some parts for boilers stored in it. And I put everything on wheels. Anything that can be on wheels is on wheels in my shop to make it easier to get out of my way or to move in and out of my van, or just basic, like it's just easier. I think this is the way to go. I got another rack here, so shorter, but it's doing all the same heavy lifting. I've got some bulk, heavy duty tools over top. The stuff that I'm not using on a daily basis is the stuff that's up there. This one, same depth as the other. I think we're just over 3 feet in depth with the wire racking on top of it. The very top stuff that I just don't need to access very often, but I need to have on hand. We've got some floor protection materials up there. We've got some bulk storage of glycol antifreeze that we use for radiant systems. There's a couple space heaters that we need to have on hand when our boilers or furnaces for customers are out. We need some temporary heat, that kind of thing. And then this whole side basically is tool storage. Small stuff, battery operated tools, stuff that I'm not carrying on my van, different brands. I've got a couple different brands of tools I use often, but it's just quick access. And then along with the tools themselves, consumables like fasteners in these nice drawer systems. I think I'm going to invest in more of these. This is one of the nicest features of the lev rack system, to be completely honest with you, are these drawers. I love these things. These are like 4 or 5 inches deep. I can just load them up with consumables. I've got gloves in here. I've got spare OMT blades and drill bits, and here's some filler metal for brazing. It's not necessarily always organized, but it gives me a place to be organized as long as I maintain it. Here's some water filtration stuff that we use on a regular basis. Now we're away from the tools, but I needed some more spot for storing pumps for boiler systems, boiler pump valves, pressure booster pumps, stuff like that. That's, in a nutshell, this is allowing me to keep everything as organized as I'm capable of, maintaining, but it keeps it nice, centrally located. I can go to that same shelf, and that's where my pumps are, right? I don't have to move them around or find a spot when one of them comes in from my supply house. Like everything in a shop or a garage space, you're going to utilize all your extra space, so I'm just, hanging stuff off of it, stacking stuff in front of it, you name it. Here's where we did pipe storage. in its various forms because I'm working with just so many different materials as a service contractor in plumbing and heating. We've got Unistrut, some PVC, got a lot of polypropylene for gas venting appliances. That comes in pre-cut lengths, so I've got to have a few different ways to store that. We just used the beams. I had Levrack work this out for me. I told him the width of this, right? So between these two racks, I knew that ahead of time before I ordered all this, and I said I just need 3 of those cross member beams, and I cut a piece of plywood for the bottom here. That's what all of this is sitting on, and then I put one across the top to hold the 2 racks together, nice and stable, and it gave me somewhere to lean the pipe up against, like that. And now I'm pretty well organized that way. I like to store the pipe vertical, this rigid pipe, if I can. It takes up way less space that way. And then we move on, and we've just got bulk storage of a lot of different things happening over here. Mostly things like water heaters in the corner. I've got a couple of them sitting there. I've got a couple tankless water heaters out the ready here, and I've got again, everything's on wheels. If I can get it on wheels, I will do that. Here's some various bulk storage bins with things like PVC fittings and polypropylene fittings and stuff like that. Those are really solid bins, by the way. Let me give Husky or Home Depot a plug. If you guys are interested at all, this is a Husky bin. That's their brand name, right, out of Home Depot. I don't care. This isn't, again, not sponsored, but these bins have a lifetime warranty on them. I stand on them all the time. They don't break. These things, that's a testament, man. These things are nice. I like them. I like that clear lid. The idea that if it were to fall off the back of my van in the middle of winter when it's 40 below, that plastic ain't going to break. That stuff's solid. But again, water heaters, a little more bulk storage. I don't love racking shelving like that because it's hard to organize, like I said. But it's a product of, just I need places to set things and to get them off the floor. So I have a lot of free working space, a lot of walkable space, that kind of thing. And then the rest is, don't look at that. Don't look at that. No, it's not always organized, you guys. Anyway, guys, check out the Levrack system. I can't say enough about it. It's expensive, no doubt. You can find deals on it, when they have kind of like the Father's Day deal or springtime organizing. They're gonna put some promos out there. Take advantage of it if you're at all interested in it. I think it's a really high quality, well thought out product. There's more accessories you can do, like desks and worktops and stuff like that. This is what worked for me. I knew I wasn't gonna be hanging things on the wall. I didn't want that. I wanted to put plywood up on the wall, paint it, it's insulated, it's finished. That's the end of the story on the walls. I didn't want to have to take up space with that. I wanted to put the racking up so I could maximize my storage kind of per square foot, per lineal foot. The building here I'm at the max capacity the county will let me go. I really wish I could have got about 400 more square feet out of this. It would make a big difference actually for me because I could probably get one more vehicle in here a little more comfortably with that extra amount of space. But I'm at 1,800 square feet. It's just me that operates out of here. I'm in and out all day long. I have shipments that come in regularly, like water conditioning equipment. It's pretty bulky. Tank water heaters, of course, that's huge and bulky. I put in probably upwards of about 25 boilers a year, and those take up some space. So having to organize my everyday, my storage, my materials, put out to the perimeter, up off the floor, gives me a lot more floor space to take delivery and storage of those materials as my projects move through the year. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the Levrack stuff. I've got some videos like this and other shop content over on my social media, like on Instagram or YouTube. Search the hashtag Aune Shop. That's AUNE Shop. I'm Eric Aune. I'm a licensed master plumber here in central Minnesota. I really enjoy making this content for the Build Show. Shout out to every one of the creators, the contributors to the Build Show. There's some really great stuff happening every single week on this platform, If you're not aware, they have a email newsletter you can sign up for. It comes free to your inbox a couple times a week. They don't spam you, I promise, because I get the emails too. You can get that by signing up at the link on the Build Show Network sites. Thanks for watching, guys. I gotta go. I gotta get to work.
Yeah.
Choose some on off. Build show Sky Killer. This one. 505. It's the engine on. Oil, everything will make your engine last. Rev on you.
Rev up your engine! Alright, today we got an oil burner. It's a 2015 Honda Accord, and it burns some oil. The old Hondas really didn't, but we're going to show you what you can do about it and whether it's something you should really worry about in this particular Honda Accord. Now, this Honda Accord is 158,000 miles. We've already used a heavy with the car, but he burns the 1 and 1.5 quarts of oil every 5,000 miles when he changes the oil. So that's not an outrageous amount, but it's still burning some oil. We're going to see if we can do anything about it. But before we do, I'm going to teach you a little bit more about these engines so you'll be in a better position, especially if you buy used ones. Now, this is the sport version. It's made in Ohio, 2015. As you can see, it's an Accord Sport. He bought it used, and he follows my videos. He was here years ago. Has Nissan that a year later, that's right, the transmission blew up. It was out of warranty then. He got rid of that. And he bought this Accord. Now he made a smart move. Going away from Nissan was blowing up transmission, but going to a Honda 2015, this one is still made. Decent size engines. This is a 2.4 liter, and importantly, it is not a turbocharged. It is an earth moved engine, but it's not turbocharged. And the important thing to realize is 2.4 liters. Now, out of the new ones, they're 1.5 liters smaller than the turbo.
Yeah.
In my experience, we're going to come on. So if you burn your torque for it, it be 5,000 miles. You're probably burning about a quarter every 8 or 900 miles because of the turbocharger, GDI injection, all that extra pressure makes it burn. So, buy an older one, it actually doesn't rate, non-turbo, and it will last long. Now, a quart and a half every 5,000 miles isn't really that big of a deal, except that he lives here on the East Coast where they do emissions testing, and eventually it will indeed clog up his catalytic converter. It doesn't do it yet, but eventually it will, because the oil will eventually block the catalytic converter, those little honeycomb structures, and the cap won't work, and then it will trip the evil, inefficient catalytic converter code, and you won't be able to get it emission test. Unfortunately for him, he's got 4 more years. And in 4 years, it will be grandfathered in and won't have to do the emissions test. You make it still run perfectly fine. So that's the thing that he's got to worry about. And that's because he's lucky he's not living in Rhode Island where I am, because in Rhode Island, the grandfathering of no emissions testing is 25 years, right? That's a long time. You definitely have to think about fixing. So what we're going to do today is to attempt to make it burn a little bit less oil. Sometimes it works.
Bernie's engine cleaner and
but
oil
it's
cleaner.
not going to hurt him. First, we're going to flush the engine. We're using Bernie's flush. Get any crud out of the engine, maybe the piston rings, they're low tension piston rings, they might be sticking in. So, just pour it in, and I'm getting all done. Big old pliers.
I'm not conspiring, I'm just telling you.
Archimedes or somebody said to the level long enough to move the air. Go ahead in the engine. And it's Bernie's new can. It's not going to look like a hand grenade. Pull the pin in, and in it goes. And now comes the waiting game. Put the tap on, we'll run it for about 15 minutes. And we'll do it outside so we don't stink up my new garage. We'll do it at about 2,000 RPM. Now it's ran circulate through the system. The cleaner will get any carbon off, and if we're lucky, the piston rings being somewhat low tension piston rings, they do that for better gas mileage, higher gas mileage ratings. They can stick if they got carbon up in them, so it'll free them up. And with fuel cleaner, if there is carbon, a lot of times it can clean it out of its catalytic converter somewhat, so it won't have a problem with failing the test. It's a good idea if you got a dirty engine. Fuel injection could be dirty too, catalytic converter. Use both of the steps to clean. It's not something you need to do all that often, but this thing does have 150,000 miles. Then you know, the Honda, of course, you got to jack it up and load it down. Just make sure you do what I'm doing here. Yes, there is the marking here for the jack stand. The jack to jack up. So you can see we are on there. Don't forget to put the jack stand on there in case your jack goes and you get squashed. So we have my little light here, nice and bright, oil drain pan. And there's the oil drain plug. Now it's a Honda, so it's 17 millimeter. It's right on it. Now the oil is hot, so notice I got these gloves on. You don't want hot oil on yourself. It's always going to make a little bit of a mess. Long threads on these things too long. All right, there we go. Now it's all going down in there. See, it's black. Let's clean out the carbon. It's all black, and the oil filter's up here. So we'll get to that once we drain the oil out. Filters are hard to get out, so I got this little filter wrench with an extension. It's right over the oil filter. Then we just put a big wrench on the end. And you don't want the filter to stick. So get a little bit of oil on your finger. Put it on the lip. So it will slide on and not stick. And just get it right. Tighten it as tight as you can with your hands. And that's fine. Now all the black dirty carbon is in the oil in the pan to be recycled later. And not in the engine. On cast straw legs, 020 for synthetic, which is a great oil for these cars because the cars that might burn a little oil. That's the best oil that I've found. I have customers with these Hondas. Some of them buy the cheapest oil they get their hands on, and they'll say, "Man, I burned a quart of oil 1,000 miles or less." Then I say, "Well, try the Castro, see what happens." And they do, and sometimes they end up like here, where it's only burning maybe a quart and a half every 5,000 miles instead of every less than 1,000. Stuff does work quite well. And interesting enough, where the name Castro came from, what are you going to find out? Got by the name of Wakefield, and the English lord, he was Sir Wakefield. He invented castor by taking oil and putting castor oil in it. Believe it or not, adding the castor oil made it lubricate engines better. Now, they don't do that anymore. Everything is synthetic this, synthetic that. But back in the day, it meant something. Just like Pennzoil back in the day meant everything because it came from Pennsylvania crude oil, which actually was a better lubrication oil before they came out with all these additives. So that was in the past. But the name stuck. Put the 4 quarts of oil in. So I poured it all. We'll let it down slowly. Then to start it now, we'll shut it off and see if we guessed the right amount. Whatever guesses we do, we are short, so we'll put more in. So now time will tell if this is going to affect. He's going to tell me how it goes. He'll know in 5,000 miles to see if it has less oil that's burnt or no oil that's burnt. Now, if it still burns some, this little amount isn't really going to hurt anything. But just to help us keep the catalytic converter from firing, we'll put some of Bernie's fuel system to it in the tank to help burn out any of the carbon there. So here we go, just pour the gas tank. Notice this is one of Bernie's old cans. The old ones are plastic. The new ones are metal, I guess. And then we just pour the gas tank with a little funnel so it opens the flap. Again, this is a fuel cleaner. Oh, here we go. There's a key. Yes, it has a key. So I like about this old one. Also, it's a real emergency brake. Not the electronic brake. Now, we'll start it up. Hey, the Sport Edition has really nice setup. Beautiful looking inside. Like I said, it's got 158,000 miles on it. The backup camera is broken. It's a smooth as can be. 158,000 miles. It's still idle for the green. We'll saw over the big water bump there. And they have attempted, believe it or not, to fix the holes in the road, but as you will soon hear, mainly they threw a bunch of pieces on the road, and now I'm going to have to clean the white paint off my car because here they come. now we'll wait for an opening, see how this thing runs. And it's getting to be on the fourth time, so it might take a few days to get out, but no, we got lucky. Here we go. And hey, it doesn't need a turbo. It's got a nice pickup, even though it's got a CVT. If it was a regular automatic or standard, it has a bit more fun. It still is a pretty sporty car. With 158,000 miles, hey, it's still got a lot of life left in it. And this truck here got almost 29 miles a gallon. So you can't argue that. Oh, really? I mean, it's a nice sporty car. Got a lot of life left in it. And even if it stayed at a quarter and a half every 5,000 miles, that is not that bad. Unless you live where you have to fix the catalytic converter when it gets inefficient catalytic converter, in which case you're going to spend some money on that. But you can always move to Tennessee and then no one cares. Now you can hear a little groan. That's just this air conditioning compressor. It's old and it's groaning. Typical on Honda. But it still blows cold, so he's just going to live with it as long as it works. Well, uphill we go. No problem climbing hills. Nice smooth acceleration. You step on the gas. Look, takes off very smoothly. It's a 2.4 liter Ford. Reasonable size Ford. Hondas make great 2.4 liter engines. I don't know why the heck they're going to 1.5 turbo. Well, maybe it's land obsolescence, cheaper to manufacture them, and a little more horsepower, but at the cost of shorter lifespan. Here's an interesting thing that I didn't know about. You can see this cool little design they put on. Honda allows you to, with the USB, put a design, you put a family picture, whatever, and this is the stock factory screen. He didn't change the screen, it came that way. He created the picture, downloaded with USB, and up it pops. It's pretty cool. You put his cleaner, try to clean off the rings, and the fuel cleaner to get rid of carbon to see if it will burn less oil. We'll find out after he drives at 5,000 miles. He'll simply tell me, and we can see if indeed it gets better. Now he's already made the smart move that he's using the castor oil. So castor oil is probably the best oil to make it burn less. And if it still burns a little bit a quart every 5,000 miles, it's not something that's really going to harm anything. I've got customers with them that burn a quart every 1,000 miles, not every 5,000 miles, and they still run okay. But of course, if you live in one of those states, and there's less and less states that are doing emission testing, you realize that most of the states in the United States no longer do emission testing. But if you live in one of those, yeah, then you got to buy a catalytic converter eventually because it will clog it up. But if it runs as good as this thing is running, hey, I say that's kind of foolhardy. Say move to Tennessee, a state that doesn't do it, and just keep driving it. And if it finally does go bad, then worry about it then running wise. Because these computer systems are very sensitive, and they'll notice a slight problem that you don't notice on the off. Let's face the fact, things get like 29 miles a gallon, everything's working fine. So, my advice is we'll see if this slows it down, but if not, no big deal, because this isn't a turbo. This doesn't have all that pressure in it, and it should last for years and years to come. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.
Get something to eat now. 13 pounds. Huh?
They have nuggets up on the thing.
Yeah. How good are they though? Huh?
Depends. If they're hot, they'll taste good.
Yeah. Well, it's just $3.5, you know. 15 minutes, you know. $3.5. What's it?
Oh yeah, I'm using the cooling.
Yeah.
How long is it?
15 minutes and 10 minutes. I think it's probably is 9 minutes. Take a palm, you know. You know? We saw that one already. We saw the Quinn style, you know. We saw that one, remember? Lindsay Kirsten, the nuclear missile bunker, remember? That's one of this, you know.
Yeah.
Is it something to eat? Sure. I'll take my phone with me. Yeah. Actually, leave me here. It's charging now, 62%.
Charge 62?
62%, yeah.
Someone's at your Ring video doorbell. Someone's at your Ring video doorbell. Someone's at your Ring video doorbell. Someone's at your Ring video doorbell.
It's charging. That's charging.
Someone got your Ring Video doorbell.
You got me?
Yeah.
What if they were all stale though?
Still stale.
What if they were
Well, yeah.
cold?
Yeah, well, yeah. Josh? No. All the way. Should close this all the way. No, they just take it away. Watch Kristen. No. This one is yeah. Yeah, you see a remote?
No, I don't.
Okay, but I think you're Bonnie was riding it. Safely go, safely go. On. Finish that podcast. Jeez. This one? Stuff from the beginning?
Nope.
Huh?
Nope.
So I like to hear it when this week on Royce Royale. You know?
But we'll see. I mean, we still got a lot of clouds, so maybe we'll get some more rain this morning. But I find it pretty exciting. I find it exciting that we're getting that much. That's pretty wild. What do you think about the rain? What do you think about it? Oh, I don't know. Just give me bets. Just give me bets. All right, all right. You remember when I said maybe we'll get some more rain? Here it is. Let's see if we get any measurable amount. Hey, what do you think about all this rain? Rain is wet. Is this going to save you some time with the watering?
Yeah, that's nice. Because I started watering some things yesterday, but I didn't finish. So now the weather's gonna finish for me.
Nice.
Very thoughtful.
This is really good for the trees in the garden we just planted, right?
Yeah, it's great.
This is going to, you can't ask for a better timing on the rain.
Huh?
Oh. Oh.
The toad.
Yep.
All right, well, we got a little bit of rain.
This much rain.
Still not even 1/8 of an inch, but at least the gate was wet. But it seemed like it was more. It seemed like it was really coming down. But now that the rain's gone, the wind's back. We got winds about probably over 30 miles an hour. It's pretty crazy out here. Checking out the delivery. All right, so we just got another special delivery, but this will be used for the garden as well as another project coming up. So very excited about that.
And what's that?
All right, so here's the deal. Just picked out this door to go for the laundry room, and it is a very nice door. In fact, it's too nice. It is definitely an exterior door, and because it's an exterior door, I was thinking, you know what? We're gonna need a couple of doors, extra doors anyway. You might as well pay a little money for like an interior door because those can be kind of cheap. So we're gonna head out and we're gonna get one of those, and then I think we'll save this one for an outside door. I mean, why not? It is a perfect exterior door. We might as well. But I might repurpose this handle.
Exterior and interior.
Hey, so we are headed out to the city, the big, big city. Gotta do that every time. And we are going to celebrate Jess's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. How old are you? How old are you?
21 again, everybody. 21 again. Be with the drink.
Whoa! I married myself a young hottie. That is age inappropriate for me. What can you do? But yeah, so we are gonna go on to town, celebrate Jess's birthday, and pick up a door. So very cool because you can't just do one thing, right? Can't just celebrate a birthday. We gotta make it a work thing too. All right.
Yeah, see me something happen. Like spicy? Huh?
Yeah.
Birthday girl. Girl, are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Next time we'll go to Burger King, I'll get a burger.
Girl.
I'm sure I'm cold. By the way, guess what this weekend is? I gotta call in and see if we're going over there. It's Memorial Day weekend? Or Labor Day weekend something? Memorial Day weekend, yes. Oh, it's bad. Wanna be charged? It's done there. We need it, okay? Because you know why? Why should we get together for Memorial Day weekend, you know? I do. I had fun the last time I went with you, remember? I was asleep, remember? So at least it falls on. At least the class falls on Thursday, and I get if we go on Friday or Saturday, I get to sleep there. You know, with my TV again. You know. We play this for a while while this comes up.
Ooh, winds are really picking up, and man, we got some dark clouds out here. Feels really amazing, but I'm wondering if we're gonna get some more rain. This is wild.
Soft update for the Galaxy S22. The only update is we can be trying it. Oh, what's wrong? Huh? Spicy?
No.
What? No, thank you.
Something's picking up, and it looks like storm day is coming up over the mountains. So
Your Ring Video
we'll see.
Doorbell.
All right.
Sharon. She's there for what, Memorial Day or Labor Day?
of July.
Yeah.
Please leave your message for Sharon Sloga.
Hey Sharon, it's Vinny. Just wondering if you do anything for Memorial Day weekend. This Monday or this weekend.
No, it's next weekend.
That's this weekend. No, Monday's Memorial Day. No school. Monday's
next week.
Just give me a call and let me know if you do anything for Memorial Day weekend this weekend, okay? 224-391-3543. Give me a call. Alright, bye. Give me a call, bye.
To replay your message, to mark your message.
Let me check the calendar when Memorial Day weekend is. 25th? Yeah, 25th this weekend, you know? See? It's the 19th. It's this weekend, you know? Yeah?
On Monday?
On Monday, yeah, 25th of Monday, you know? Told you.
So I got my.
They owe me another drink. Actually, 2 drinks. You know why?
No.
One fixing your horn. For
fix the horn.
Rough open.
Nice try.
I fixed the horn.
You pushed it and it made a noise.
And you're all set.
Yeah, but when you pushed it, it didn't make a noise.
Got the door ready to go, so we're just gonna pop this thing in, and we're all set. All right, so the door is fully installed, looking really good. All we need now is a little bit of hardware to go in here, and that's where that other door comes into play.
Not only it's Memorial Day weekend, it's Stephen Colbert's last show this week, Thursday.
What?
Huh?
What?
No more Stephen Colbert next week.
Oh.
This week, you know? Well, this week.
I'm thinking, what's this got to do with Steve Leto?
Stephen Colbert, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Remember they're ending his show this Thursday?
All right, so this
Huh?
If he's, I think they'll continue to do.
Yeah, maybe.
Podcast things, yeah.
But I know that Louis Cato and the Late Show Band will still do stuff, you know?
They'll be touring.
Yeah.
Probably going to need to get replaced anyway, so I'm thinking we'll just take this off of here, put it into that door, and then set this up with new hardware where we have the key for. All right, it's installed. Nice. Hey Jess, you want to try out the new door?
Now, what is it, Vince?
Well, to actually get airflow through.
All right, and if you thought I was going to get through a video without making some CAD, you'd be wrong. I want to fill this area up here underneath the wall. Then a lot of the major section of this room will be closed off.
Speaking of food, still the dessert in the cup. Yeah.
So people have talked about our kennel here and about how I don't know how they disapprove of her hanging out in this kennel on the inside of the dome, but you know, even though we don't keep the door closed, but her safe space in here might be going away. Well, not might be going away. It's going away. I'm gonna disassemble it and it's going outside. So she likes being outside at night. So we might be creating a little space for her to hang out in the evening, so she can just kind of be outside in the night, enjoying the cool night air during the summer. So this space is going to radically change. So many radical changes lately. The laundry room is pretty much closed up. The kennel, leaving the dome.
Huh? It's like, where's my fence? Right? Right? So where's my fence, right?
Like a whole new area over here.
Yeah,
What do you think, BBG? No more kennel in here. Quick update on the dog situation, as people might know.
What?
What was the other dog's name?
Yeah, Yuffie and
Basco.
not Basco, no. It had to do something with lost him. Remember last year?
Yeah, put him down because he was dying from an infection.
Cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
We are rehoming a couple of dogs. Those dogs are still available. We're still looking for homes. So again, if you are in the area and you are interested in some real nice dogs, drop us a line and we can hook you up. We got the hookup. So Stormy and Layla, still looking for homes. We're gonna try and see if we can keep them together. They are sisters, but you know, we understand if we can't. But yeah, reach out. She's not sure how to handle this. The whole dynamic's changed. Well, I guess this isn't so bad either. Well, she might like this new setup. She could just lay there and then demand pets.
Hi Sharon, are you doing anything for Memorial Weekend? For Memorial Day weekend.
All right, so this is exciting. So the room is closed off. Now, it's not completely airtight. Obviously, there are areas like this around the cob where some of the cob is pulled away from the wood. Of course, that is to be expected. There's just still like little holes and stuff around that things could be kind of sealed up a little bit better. But can we still get some airflow? That's the question. So we've had these earth tubes in there for I don't know how long now, a while. And we're going to see if we can get some airflow, if it keeps the room any cooler as it is. Now, I think it'll only get better once we get the room more sealed off and we get that airflow like it's supposed to. But we'll see what we get now. All right, so the current temperature in here is around 73 degrees. Well, that says 73. This says 66. So it's probably a little warmer because probably the sunlight was hitting this. So yeah, we'll go with 66, 73. So we are going to open up this cap. And I think the other end should be open and covered, but we'll double check on that.
There you go.
So, yep. All right, so hopefully we'll see some airflow in there. When Jess comes out, we're going to test this out. I'll be here. She'll be in the inside, and we'll see if we can just do the sound test where we can communicate back and forth. And I'm excited. This will be our first test of the Earth tube system. I know people have been waiting a long time for this, and I'm really excited to be here right now. And you know, it'll only improve as we get more things sealed up in there, but we'll see what we can see right now. I know people are excited for that. So am I. All right, so back out here. We're gonna do the communication test, and we're gonna see how this goes. All right, Jess, are you in place? Hello.
Someone's at your Ring video doorbell.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. All right, so successful test of the Earth tube system.
I don't think using it as a telephone is quite the function that it's supposed to have.
It is supposed to be an air conditioner, but can it be a tele-TV as well?
Sure.
We have Earth tubes and we have tele-TVs. All right, so we'll come back out in the heat of the day, and we'll see if we get any better temps than we did yesterday. Excited? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. All right, so this is early afternoon, not quite the peak heat of the day, but pretty close enough. How is it right here? How are you feeling?
It feels pretty warm.
Yes. All right, so do you want to go take a look inside and see how it is?
Yeah.
And you're going to sit out there. You're sitting in the worst place. Why? Does she need to go for a walk? Should we take her for a walk first?
You can see.
You want to go for a walk? Come on, let's go for a walk. You all set, Jess? You got your walking boots on?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm surprised she wants to go out for a walk this time of day. It isn't even the heat that's the worst part about this. It's the flies. Flies.
Someone's at your Ring video doorbell.
I cannot believe that she is just running around out here. Yuri, come on. We gotta get back.
Those windows open up by heat. They're heat actuated.
All right, did all your poops and your peas?
Now I'm going to throw up.
We'll get some more. All right. Now, where were we? Hot out, right?
That's even more hot.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot cooler in here than it is out there, but that's like a greenhouse area, so a lot of light coming through there. So it's hotter out there than it is even outside. But what are we seeing over here? We got 92 degrees over here.
Something hot.
That is hot. Over by the window here, 89. So this room is hot. But so we kind of expected that, right? I mean, there's so many little gaps still here we gotta kind of take care of. But let's check out the tube. Okay, you wanna do the honors?
Oh.
Ooh,
So I'm gonna put it on the
67 degrees, 68, right around there. Not too bad. You know, that is an excellent reading, and I think we get the rest of this room closed off. You know, get these other areas sealed off. We could pull in a lot of that cooler air. How's the hand test feel?
Ooh.
All right, so pretty cool test. I mean, definitely some cool air coming out of there. And do you feel a breeze?
Yeah, very slight.
Very slight air intake. So again, seal off these other areas, then air should actually escape that vent I put in, and we should be able to pull more air out to that tube.
Yeah. So, right, we want to close up any other cracks and areas where hot air might be coming in. And then we got our vent that you put in there above the door, so hot air can escape out that way, and then it should pull the cool air out of our earth tube.
Very exciting.
YouTube. Is it YouTube?
Really quick update, since that room is like 90 degrees. What's the temperature in the dome? Nice and cool, I'll tell you that much.
72.5.
72.5, so very nice, very comfortable in the dome, even though it's like over 20 degrees hotter outside. Interesting, promising results, I think. So our first test, or well, second test actually, the communication test worked. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So our teletubbies do work. Getting cool air out of there, that's the next step thing. So we're in there. I think, obviously we have so many areas to seal off just yet, but we are getting there. And you've been busy with the garden. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you have planned?
Sure.
We have a.
What? Since don't feel like talking, not even thinking about Memorial Day until Friday, So I'll know.
Say good night, love you.
Good night, love you. We'll talk Friday. Yep.
Oh, you didn't tell her that I sent a picture from my garage? I got 10 of those pots ready to go.
What?
The round pots I got in front. I don't have a growing medium in there.
I sent the pictures to her.
Kind of a large garden space planned in our, I guess you could call it our backyard. It's going to be right over the trenches that we dug for the earth tube.
Which seems kind of crazy.
So there's
love you too,
a couple of risks in doing this. One, you might be thinking like, oh, you're growing things, especially trees or something, where the roots might go down to the tubes, maybe it damages the tubes or clogs them up. Maybe that's a possibility. But I think that's unlikely in our case. Most of what we're growing, the roots should be fairly shallow. Also, if we ever needed to do maintenance on the tubes, we would have to dig them all up. And obviously, if there's a garden there, we couldn't do that, or we'd have to destroy the whole garden, basically. So that's another risk. Now, let me explain why I decided to put the garden there. One, it's close to the house, so it'll be more convenient going out there doing work.
Nothing better than going shopping in your own backyard, right?
Also, I feel that it could make our earth tubes more efficient. For one thing, it will shade the openings of the tubes on the other end where the air is entering. So the air going into the tubes will start out a little bit cooler. And that's less work for the tubes to do in cooling out that air. But also it will make the ground a little more moist. Part of how these earth tubes work is through evaporative cooling. So if moist air goes into the tubes, that condenses and it cools off the air, and that cooler, drier air goes into the house.
A lot of questions that we've gotten asked is like, will this earth tube system work in more humid environments? And the thing is, it actually should work better in humid environments than this drier heat that we have.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm excited. A lot of progress has been made. I'm very excited. All right, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. And we'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks so much for doing this.
It's open, right?
Bye. She doesn't want you to stop.
See, from day one, they start off with that hut, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Then
they lived for 3 years in their camper.
Yeah. The Airberg we saw. The Cornstar I saw, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say, about, life contained? Right?
Yeah.
We got coal. No coal. Yeah. See? See, basically. How long? Like 19 minutes?
Steve.
Steve? 8 minutes? Yeah. Yeah. Let's see that.
Hey, Steve Basic Architect. Yeah, so we made it down to our current project. Yeah, I didn't drive. My son chauffeured me this morning, so I had the ability to sit there and take on a bunch of phone calls. But we got a beautiful project here. We're going to start, and we're going to take a walk around the outside. So, yeah, let's get after it. Alright, so we're standing in front of a house.
Your ring video doorbell.
Into this little entrance courtyard there. You see we have a nice gable for the garage, drops down to a flat roof, and then we have a series of gables on the house. The house is actually shaped like a Z. So this is the northwest side. You can see the sun is starting to catch this. It's mid-afternoon, late afternoon. So we're going to take a walk around here. You're going to bear with me because I am going to walk very cautiously. And notice, we don't have a lot of windows. We don't want to face that west side. Most of the windows here are predominantly on this southeastern side facade here. I'm just trying to make my way to the tracks. But you can see here, we have a large expansive window in the bedroom. We have the 3 repetitive windows here. This is hallway. And then the roof goes up because we go from the 8-inch wall frame or the 8-foot wall frame to the 10-foot wall frame over here. And this is the corner where the kitchen is in. So when you come here, you get to really appreciate. These are 5-foot tall windows. We go about 42 inches that way. We go about 11 feet down the wall that way. So we're talking probably around 14.
Someone got your ring video doorbell.
Of window, and then we come into the covered porch here. So this will be all screened in. Notice the structure that you see is pretty much all the structure that we have. Now, when we went for shear wall bracing review, this came under pretty heavy scrutiny because we have this flat roof. We have 3 sides where the wind can attach this structure. So you really had to have a good foundation, but more so a really good connection from roof down. So you can see.
I told her when I went to the wake, she's going this Saturday, you know? So maybe we can go by Sharon Saturday, you know? We'll see what she says that Friday, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have our Sims.
Because you know why? We're by ourselves Saturday, you know?
Yeah. The connectors, but
because she's going. Where's it located? What town? What town's the Memorial Service at?
I don't know. It's in the city.
That's in the city somewhere.
You go down it.
So
it's a 24-inch sonotubes that have moment connecting post frames. You can see those are just a little heavier duty than normal, and they sink down into there. So it gives that post some rigidity in connection to the foundation. And those are stamped across the front of the porch here, and then we have some that are set back about 9 foot back that way. But those 2-foot on center sonotubes. And then, of course, we have our 10-foot lift and slide door there that goes into the dining space. And then here, that 10-foot wall frame continues, and we have the living room beyond. And this is where we, went with the largest windows in the house. And you can see at the bottom,
these are all fully water managed. We can go up and catch one of them close up there. But they're on a sloping sill pan that will drain water out. They're sitting on little blocks. But you can see that's about a 9-foot tall window, 7-foot wide, has a couple hoppers down in the bottom there to provide ventilation. We have a door here that is going to come out because we're going to have a shower, outdoor shower around the corner. And then here we just have a hallway window, and the larger window you see here is, my fear is that I'm going to take a digger on camera, and I'm not going to give you guys that luxury. So, that being said, I am walking careful, and yes, this is mud, but maybe it's best shown right here. Here I can show you, I'm going to spin around, but you can notice we have our Schuko windows. You can see they have their own water management system in the weeks there, but notice here we have a fully water managed sill pan, so the windows are sitting on these sloping blocks here. So any water that gets in the system is basically going to drain out, and we're going to have our zip rain screen with siding over here, so that water will be able to go down the wall and simply drip out should it ever get in there. So very well done. The gentleman here, the builder, they did a really good job installing these. Get back on my track here, and then coming around here, when we get in the shadow, it'll be a little easier to see, but excuse me, this is what I would consider kind of the dirty part of the yard, right? So we have a bunch of smaller windows. These are enough to ventilate the bedrooms, the bathroom, the closet. We have a couple to the den, one to the laundry room. Our bulkhead is back here. This will get populated with some exterior condensers, the generator, all of that stuff kind of in back here. So when you go out onto your screen and porch, you're not looking left or right at a generator or a condenser. We're going to put that stuff back here where the only reason to really ever come back here is to, in fact, service our equipment. We have our back door to the garage here, which we can make our way over there. We'll take a walk in. That's just a standard Schuko door, if you're wondering, and it has the 18-inch extension. You can see there that gives you a little bit more headroom at the head of the stairs there. And then, of course, we are in the garage, back around where we started. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed that. I also shot a video where we walked around the floor plan, and I'll have a video where we actually walk the floor plan on the buy board, so you get to see it from a design perspective also. If you're a subscriber, thank you for joining in. Greatly appreciate you coming along on the journey. If you weren't a subscriber, then smash that subscribe button. Go tell all your friends. Yeah, you gotta see Steve takes us for a walk around his projects. He talks a lot about building sign.
Birthday cake.
Yeah. See.
The graham cracker thing, or chocolate graham cracker.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Because I thought they only give you one choice. Before.
No, they only give you one piece.
Yeah, one piece of anything. Well, not anything, but just one piece of cake or chocolate cake, lemon cake, Well, when I used to work there, they used to give you only one choice.
Yeah.
Just a chocolate cake, for your birthday,
The interaction of architecture and building science, the details, how to build a house that actually makes sense for long-term durability. So go check it out. And
bless you.
Other than that, I'm Steve Azig Architect. Until next time, you know the deal. Along with our buildings.
Well, I know that he's got that yellow or that memorial service Saturday. Cookie's got the Memorial Day service on Saturday, if he wants to come over on Saturday, not if she, if you, why you, yeah, he wants to come over.
That's that dude sent you a picture from his garage.
John sent you a picture from his garage. Not Chance, hold on. John sent you a picture from his garage. Not Miss Garage. Hey, Oliver. You watch something?
Mm-hmm.
And this how it met Farrell?
What's that?
Yeah. How worst oil crisis in history is backfiring?
Mm-hmm.
This how you remember? Right?
Yeah.
Which one?
That one, yeah.
This one?
Ever. The war in Iran has already cost the average American household $184. That's real money, really gone. And that's just the start. The International Energy Agency is calling this the most severe oil supply shock in history. About 1/5 of the world's oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz. Oil still makes up roughly 80% of global energy. You don't need to be an economist to do the math. But here's the part that stopped me in my tracks. Even if the strait reopened tomorrow, it would take years for the production to get back to pre-war levels. Years. I built my home with solar, storage, and an EV.
By the way, make sure you
Partially so I'd be self-sufficient.
Make sure you Olympia Shelky's number this week, you know? Huh? Thursday. Isn't why? She said Friday. Let me check the calendar if that's correct. I know it's Friday.
She's doing something?
Hold on. She's doing something with me on Friday, you know? Hold on. What's my calendar on this thing? Yeah. Friday on the 22nd? Bingo with Olympia Shelky, remember? 6 o'clock.
Fishing during winter
I got
hours.
a phone number to get in, you know? Building, you know?
I wasn't planning for a war in the Middle East, but that's the strange thing about this moment. A climate story just became a security story. A security story just became a personal one. So here's the flip side. Last year, solar added more new power generation than any single technology in a single year ever. That's the IEA, not me. So here's what I wanted to figure out. Is this war actually speeding up the energy transition? Or is it just exposing cracks that were already there? Because the answer isn't simple. It's not the same everywhere. I'm Matt Farrell. Welcome to Undecided. This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Let me say something obvious up front. This war is a human and economic catastrophe first. Everything else flows from that. The US and Israel started it in late February. Iran responded by taking control of the Strait of Hormuz, and ship traffic basically stopped. Both sides have hammered energy infrastructure across the region. If you've been following the news, you've heard the same loop. The strait opens, it closes, it opens again. But that tit for tat misses the point. Even if traffic resumed tomorrow for good, the damage is already baked in. But here's what makes this moment different from past oil shocks. Clean energy isn't just a climate choice anymore. It's winning on cost. In a lot of places, a new solar farm is already cheaper than running an old gas plant. So on paper, a war that pulls 20% of the world's oil offline should be rocket fuel for the transition. Except the oil companies that aren't near the strait are about to have the best quarter of their lives. Both of those things are true at the same time, and the story of how they collide is already playing out, country by country. There's another piece of big and obvious news here. The war in Iran is pushing the energy transition forward in many places. We know this because country after country is responding to this crisis by accelerating their adoption of renewable energy. I'll admit it, when I first heard the war is accelerating the energy transition, my gut said, sure, but for who? I'm sitting in a house in New England with solar and a battery. I'm not in Spain. I'm not in South Korea. But it turns out this isn't just a headline about faraway capitals. It's a pattern. It's happening at every level. So let me show you what I mean. In Europe, France is ramping up its electrification plans and might even fund it with taxes on fossil fuel companies. The UK has a plan to decarbonize housing with heat pumps and solar. Spain is the shining example of using renewables to avoid the worst of the energy shock. The country's government has touted their massive green energy investments as a reason that the country has been shielded by the worst of the price hikes. And there's something to it. We see similar moves in Egypt and India, which are adding gigawatts of renewable storage and production. And we see it in Southeast Asia, the area that's most reliant on oil from the strait. Then there's Japan, which is speeding up adoption of wind and returning to nuclear. overcoming very reasonable concerns following the Fukushima disaster. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung laid it out clearly. Our future will be at serious risk if we continue to rely on fossil fuels. The writing is on the wall for countries around the world. And in Korean, Hindi, and the Queen's English, it reads renewables now. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz turns renewable energy from a consumer or climate issue into a security issue. As we'll see later, it's not the guaranteed win for renewable energy and the climate as it might seem. So in both the near and long term, countries are pushing renewables. But that's not the only evidence we have. We also have some early data. An analysis by the Center for Research in Energy and Clean Air found fossil fuel use decreased the first month of the war, and that renewables made up the difference. This is just 1 month, but it's surprising and hopeful given the expectation countries would replace their lost gas with whatever they had around, including coal, the dirtiest, most carbon-packed energy available. So yes, countries are and will be adding renewable energy in response to the crisis. It's not a foregone conclusion that they'll turn back to the black brick rather than renewable stack to make up the immediate energy shortfalls. But as we all know, countries are slow. Utilities are also slow. Policy takes time, and Spain needed a half a decade of renewable investment to be able to respond well to this crisis. But what about consumers, the regular people buying cars and solar panels and heat pumps, the people like you watching this video right now? How are you responding? Before we get into your response, the energy crisis isn't the only risk worth planning ahead for. In the past few months, I've attended a few conferences, and between hotel and conference Wi-Fi, I leaned heavily on today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, to keep my browsing secure and private. Recently, there was a massive Brightspeed data breach that leaked more than 1 million customers' personal data, things like names, emails, phone numbers, and more. But with Surfshark, you can protect yourself while online. When signing up for new website accounts, you can use Surfshark's alternative ID to mask your name and contact info. That helps you avoid spam and data leaks. They also have an email scam checker that uses AI to spot phishing attacks in your Gmail. It works through their Chrome extension, and it catches suspicious content and malicious links before you even click on anything dangerous. It's really cool. Right now, they're running a special deal. Start your 7-day free trial and unlocks 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Go to surfshark.com/undecided or use code undecided at checkout. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to try it out for yourself. I've been using Surfshark for years, and I love it. Don't miss out on this great deal. The link's in the description below, and thanks to Surfshark and to all of you for supporting the channel. So back to how you're responding, starting with what you drive. Let's start with EVs. The case for buying an electric vehicle right now seems pretty simple. The price of oil is taking off. And not to get too technical here, but you need oil to fuel an internal combustion engine. I'm nearly certain. If gas guzzlers are more expensive, demand for EVs should go up. And it definitely has, but just how much, it depends on how EV markets are structured. So let's look at the US and the EU, the second and third largest car markets on the planet. In the EU, the new EV sales market jumped up over 50% in March. That's over 240,000 new EVs in a single month. In that same month, the number of new US EVs sold was down from nearly 25% from March last year. So how is that possible? The weirdness light is flashing on the dashboard, so let's pull over and check under the hood. While America is a significantly larger overall market, America sold around 87,000 EVs in March, which is a fraction of what the EU sold. That's just bad. But there were some reasons for hope. While demand for new EVs was down from the previous year, demand for used EVs was up nearly 28% year over year. So think about that. Even the greatest energy shock in history couldn't get Americans to buy more new electric cars. I keep thinking about this from the driveway. I drive an EV. Every time gas jumps $1, my neighbor with the pickup is hurting, and I'm, well, not. That's not a brag. It's the whole argument. An EV is a hedge against exactly this kind of week. So why, in the biggest oil shock of our lives, aren't Americans...
Speaking of gas, I was reading on Facebook. It was on the news that people are doing this to their gas pumps. Gas, what do you call it? Gas hose?
Like I do?
Like you
Drain
do.
the hose?
Yeah, drain the hose.
Yeah, because you're paying for the gas all over.
Plus, there's a little, they said there's a nail or something in there. Or something. I don't know what they said. There was something in there. There was something in there to prevent the gas from coming out when it's done, you know?
Oh yeah, it's called a air switch.
Yeah, the air switch. And when you lift the air switch, it releases more gas.
Well, you paid for all the gas that's up at the pump, and the pump's in the top of the
switch
gas thing.
Yeah.
So if it stops, it stops. So I stop it, make sure it stops. But then all that gas that's in the hose, I want that. I'm paying for that.
Why is America doing such a bad job turning EV demand into EV sales? It comes down to a toxic mix of policy and preference. First, let's explain those weird sales numbers. The Trump administration removed EV incentives last year, cutting the $7,500 credit for new EVs and the $4,000 credit for used ones. This is a real killer for demand. People who had leased EVs under these credits also ended up turning their cars in, creating a glut of used, quickly depreciating EVs that are now cost competitive with gas cars. On top of that, the U.S. auto industry, seeing the way that the White House wind was blowing, responded by cutting back on EVs, writing off tens of billions of dollars in EV investment. American EVs are more expensive than European ones. And it's not just tax incentives. America hasn't allowed the entry of lower-cost Chinese competitors like BYD, which would push American makers to build cheaper, better EVs or get out of the business. And the American consumer preference for big honking trucks, which require big honking batteries, has also weighed down the electric.
Back out in the yard.
They join you? Huh?
I don't know. Is my going for half anymore?
I'm not sure NASCAR, you know? NASCAR?
No.
No, that's good.
No, I know what she's going to say.
Well,
she's going to get my hair cut, and she doesn't expect us to. She's not going to consider what we're saying. She's upset that we bought that.
Yeah.
Vehicle costs here in the U.S. So even
sure, though, I'm sure, because she got the clothes and everything, you know. She got all that clothes and stuff.
No, she does.
In a
a lot of her friends that are there.
Yeah, she misses them, you know. You can see them, you know.
Massive energy crisis. The potential for EV demand to take off depends on how the domestic market is structured. It's not just supply and demand. It's supply and demand and tax rebates and foreign companies.
What's the weather like for tomorrow?
Sorry. But is this story an EV thing? Or does it apply more generally? It turns out that even the greatest energy shock in history won't immediately speed up adoption of every green tech. The war in Iran makes the case for solar panels stronger than ever. After all, you can maybe block the Strait of Hormuz with a naval blockade, but there's no armada strong enough to block the sun.
What's the weather like for tomorrow?
Yet. It's true that American solar manufacturing is ramping up. But for now, global solar capacity is largely a story about China. The country produces a huge amount of solar, more than twice the global demand in 2025. And that oversupply is a problem for the industry. Right now, there's pessimism among Chinese solar executives. But wait, how can overcapacity be a problem? A great Reuters article breaks it down. First off, with too much capacity, a huge amount of these companies are set to go bust. In order to get a handle on these things before this economic sun blister bursts, China just removed export tax rebates to solar producers. Chinese solar producers tried to get rid of everything they could before these rebates ended in April. One solar exec says this means the industry is currently in the off-season. I didn't know the sun had an off-season besides, like, the night. This isn't just about reduced incentives for producers, it's about the consumer side. The solar demand picture is not as sunny as you'd expect. Meanwhile, my solar panels on the roof don't care about export rebates or Chinese overcapacity. They just keep making power. But for the millions of people who haven't installed yet or just can't, all this market weirdness does matter.
Okay, here it is. About Hulu. In August, the time when Hulu shut down. In August 2025, it was announced that Hulu app will be phased out, fully integrated from Disney Plus app by 2026. Various subscription plans will still be available, including standalone One Disney Plus content and standalone for the Hulu content option includes the full offerings for sports streaming. The latest update per Variety is that standalone Hulu subscription will remain available in the United States according to the Disney representative. There are no current plans to sunset the Hulu app. Disney is still working toward merging the two platforms due as of May 19th. Walt Disney Plus Hulu Plus and Hulu bundle plan sync all features from their Hulu profile to Disney Plus. Includes recommendations. Profile linking has only effect within blah blah blah. It's not available yet. Those with the Hulu Plus Live TV plan and Disney and the Hulu bundle way and with HBO Max. Those with the Hulu One Kids profiles under the 18 Google also unable to link to Disney Plus as far as streaming two apps. Let me see what's going on. I'm trying to find when sorry. I'm trying to find when the phase out date is, you know?
Google Hulu phase out date.
Yeah, hold on, let me check. Hulu phase out date. Hulu is not shutting down, but its standalone app is being discontinued. This is merging all Hulu content into a single unified app experience within Disney Plus while expected shutdown date for solo Hulu app is not been announced. CEO Bob Iger confirmed the transformation will take place by the end of 2026.
Oh, by Iger.
By Iger, you know?
Not Iger for Iger.
That's pronounced Iger.
Walk this way.
Yeah. So I think it's based on, you know, 2026, I think, the end of 2026.
With energy prices spiking, it can matter a lot. Here's the part that surprised me. Around 70% of all solar installations in 2025 went to three markets: the US, China, and the EU. But none of these markets are primed to add much this year. The US market is largely off limits due to tariffs and other restrictions. In China, demand is down after the removal of domestic subsidies. And in the EU, natural gas prices aren't rising high enough like they did during the opening of the Ukraine war in 2022 in order to push people to make the solar switch. According to one analyst, the Iran war will only have a marginally positive impact on global solar demand. For a sunny industry, that's a dark forecast, or at least a cloudy one. So clean tech demand doesn't guarantee clean tech adoption with EVs. In the case of solar panels, there might not be all that much new demand, at least in the near term. So let's return to the big picture here, because beyond government plans or consumer markets, the war in Iran has cemented a whole new paradigm that should, in theory, promote the energy transition. But does it? All these countrywide plans to speed clean energy adoption are based around the same idea: security. But energy security is not the same as climate policy. It's about shielding from immediate impacts, not protecting against long-term repercussions. Energy security might require a country to return to coal in the short term rather than have their population go without power. And just because coal use hasn't gone up yet this year, it doesn't mean it can't, especially if the war drags on and the strait remains closed, which it very well could. Temporary price ceilings or tax holidays for fossil fuels will help consumers during this crisis, but they also contribute to emissions and keep people from switching to EVs. Or think about energy security in the context of America, the biggest producer and exporter of fossil fuels on the planet, which does so in the name of energy independence and security. U.S. oil companies right now are making record profits, and that's helping them
Someone's
spend
at your
billions
Ring
more
Video
to find
doorbell.
even more oil and keep us trapped in our fossil fuel economy. People argue that this focus on fossil fuel supremacy will somehow protect us from the rising oil prices, but it doesn't. Even if the U.S. market is much less exposed to this energy shock than a country like the Philippines, it doesn't matter much because the price of oil is set on the international market. Our prices still go up. This is the part that frustrates me the most as a homeowner who went through the trouble of doing the right thing. The fossil fuel industry gets to keep cashing in. Drivers get short-term relief at the pump. And the long-term project, the one that would actually protect people from the next shock, slows down. Energy security and climate policy sound like the same thing, but they're not. War is horrific. There's something disappointing and sad about a war with all the death and destruction it entails being the catalyst for the energy transition. It'd be great to see more of this transition come from the proactive work of companies and states, and not just a reaction to a conflict. But here's what gives me hope. I'm not planning for an energy crisis. I've been quietly building for one for years, and so have millions of other regular people. From that vantage point, this crisis doesn't just push policy, it pushes neighbors. A friend asks about your solar panels. A coworker asks why your gas bill didn't move. That's how a transition actually spreads. The crisis shows that change at the highest level is possible, and change at the human level is guaranteed. Energy systems and government policy will take months and years to respond to this crisis. In the meantime, regular people can lead the way. What do you think? Do you think this crisis is actually speeding up the transition, or is it just exposing how fragile the old system always was? Jump into the comments and let me know. You can also check out extended cuts of our videos over on Patreon. If human written and research videos matter to you, Patreon support helps a ton. The link's in the description if you'd like to join, but just watching, subscribing, and turning on notifications is awesome. And check out my podcast, Still to Be Determined, where we've been interviewing a lot of interesting people like Carl Rabago on where the future of the grid is heading. Keep your mind open, stay curious. I'll see you in the next one.
Okay.
Someone's at your Ring video doorbell.
Tristan Ludwig. Well, he said life for the team though, right?
Yeah.
How's you feel?
Being sued. Is your home address?
What's that? That means
Sure.
America's biggest builders are being sued. Check your pipes down. If you bought a house built in the last 10 years, you need to stop scrolling right now. What I'm going to tell you about is a ticking time bomb, and there's a very high probability it's hiding inside your walls at this very moment. Millions of homes were plumbed with a material that the manufacturer promised would last 50 to 100 years. Instead, it's catastrophically failing from the inside out in under 4 years. And right now, some of the biggest home builders in America are being sued for it. Welcome back to Roger Wakefield Plumbing Education. I am Roger Wakefield. Today, we're not sitting at a desk. We're not out in the field playing. We're walking right into your garage, into your walls, looking at the pipe that you're going to have problems with. What I'm going to talk to you about today can help you determine if you and your family is setting on a $100,000 nightmare and the exact steps that you need to take before your ceiling collapses. Now, if you value your home and your financial security, pay very close attention. Okay, you were sold a lie disguised as an upgrade, and the courts are finally catching up with it. Over the last decade, the plumbing industry made a massive shift from traditional copper piping to cross-linked polyethylene, commonly known as PEX. Now, as a concept, PEX is fantastic. It's fast, it's cost-effective, and it is flexible. But there's a specific, massive subset of this pipe that is failing at an unprecedented rate. Now, we're talking specifically about the Uponor
says, no, that's how you go inside it now? She said, yeah,
Now, there are current massive class action lawsuits filed across the country, like Clifford versus Uponor out of California and Fitzpatrick versus Uponor in Minnesota. The complaints allege that Uponor's red, white, and blue PEX pipe suffers from a severe manufacturing defect. Now, here's the science behind the failure. To prevent hot water and oxygen from destroying the plastic, manufacturers blend antioxidants into the pipe. But lawsuits allege that Uponor's specific manufacturing...
turning the table this way instead of this way, like this way. So look, it's blocking the big gap here.
Yeah, it's because it's up against the vent.
No, there's not. Because look. There's nothing against it. It's just a vent in there.
The bottom of the cabinet is hitting the
bottom of the cabinet is hitting the vent.
That's fine.
Methods.
I can have
turn it the other way, and then you're blocking the entire vent. You won't get any flare. You won't get any warmer.
Well, that's cool.
These anti.
I got my biggest fan.
Yep.
Oxidants evenly. Now, this means that sections of your pipe have zero protection. It leads to a condition called premature oxidative degradation. Let me be perfectly clear. This is not an issue of a bad local plumber doing a sloppy installation. This is a manufacturing defect where the pipe literally becomes brittle, it develops micro cracks, and it bursts from the inside out in as little as 3 to 10 years. Despite knowing about this, there has been no official recall. You are entirely on your own unless you know what to look for.
Now, let's quantify the demand. It starts as a tiny drip and it ends with your family living in a hotel for 6 months while your house is gutted to the studs. Now, I want you to understand the sheer financial devastation that this causes. Because we're seeing families in major subdivisions like Stonewood Creek in Georgia, Red Bird Ranch in San Antonio, they're experiencing dozens of back-to-back pipe bursts. When one of these pipes lets go while you're at work, it doesn't just get the floor wet. The average insurance payout for major water damage is hovering around $14,000, and structural rebuilds can cost up to $37 a square foot. Actually, they can cost more than that. People are spending $5,000 to $30,000 out of their pockets just on temporary emergency patches. And the total home repipe, that can easily exceed $100,000. I hate to tell you, but as a plumber, it can. And it gets worse. If you're planning to sell your home and you have this defective plumbing, you have a legal obligation to disclose it. The moment a buyer's inspector sees it, your property value, it tanks. It's gone. And the deal is dead. Your home is supposed to be your safe haven, your family's ultimate financial asset. But right now, this pipe is silently threatening both of those things. Okay, so don't wait for the insurance adjuster to tell you the bad news. Let's go find out exactly what's inside your walls right now. Now, I'm not going to leave you in the dark on this. I want you to pause this video, grab your flashlight, grab your iPhone, grab your camera, grab whatever, walk to your water heater or your main water shutoff valve. Look at the exposed plastic tubing. You're looking for flexible pipe that is colored either solid red, solid blue, or clear white. Now look incredibly close at the text printed directly on the casing of the pipe. It's on the outside of it. You're looking for 3 specific words that are tied to these exact lawsuits: Uponor, Aquapex, or Weirsbuck. Now, if you see those names and your house was built or remodeled between 2010 and 2021, you are definitely in the danger zone. Look closely at the plastic. Do you see a chalky discoloration? Do you see tiny spider web-like micro cracks forming on the outside? Or maybe even where it's curved, where it's bent? If you do, that pipe is actively failing. Panic is not a strategy. Detection and preparation will save your home. If you found this pipe, don't panic, but do not ignore it. First, aggressively check your drywall for any yellow or brown spotting. Document everything. Take pictures. Save them. Contact your builder's warranty department immediately. But here's how you take absolute control of the situation. You cannot see behind your drywall, which means a pinhole leak can spray for weeks before it ruins the ceiling. This is why I use and recommend the Leak Pro Complete Kit. I love it because even as a homeowner, you can go in and use it to listen to angle stops, valves, your meter, anything at all to see if anything is flowing. And having professional grade leak detection technology in your own hands allows you to catch the moisture before the pipe completely bursts. And it's a fraction of the cost of a deductible, and it buys you absolute peace of mind. If you're forced to do a major overhaul and repipe all the way up to your water heater, anything like that, learn to use the government's under the 2026 federal tax guidelines. If you upgrade to a high efficiency heat pump water heater, you can claim tax credits up to 30% of the cost.
That's it? That sneeze. Yeah. So it's a kucha. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Up to $2,000 a year. And you can even get up to $600 to upgrade your electrical panel to help handle it. So turn a disaster like this into a high efficiency upgrade. It pays you back. Before I go, I want to answer the top 3 questions that people are always asking regarding this plumbing process. Question number 1. Is there an official recall on Uponor Aquapex pipe? As of right now, we're the beginning of April 2026, no. Despite the massive property damage and the class action lawsuits claiming the company concealed the defects, there has been no official federal recall issued for the pipe. This is why you have to be your own advocate. Question number 2. What are the early warning signs that my PEX pipe is failing? You will often notice a drop in water pressure, subtle musty odors inside your home, or unexpected spikes in your water bill. Visually, if the exposed pipe is near your water heater, and if it looks chalky, brittle, or if it has any tiny white spider web looking cracks in it, the oxidative degradation has already set in. Question 3. Can I patch a defective PEX pipe, or do I have to replace the whole house? While you can cut out and patch a single leak to stop an active flood, the lawsuits allege this defect affects the entire run of tubing. Because the defect is progressive in nature, fixing one leak doesn't stop the pipe 2 feet down the line from bursting tomorrow. Ultimately, complete removal and replacement is often the only permanent solution. You and I both know that ignoring a problem never makes it go away. It just makes it more expensive. The construction industry wants to manage this quietly, but you now have the exact information that you need to protect your family and your finances. If you live in a neighborhood that was built in the last 10 years or so, you have neighbors who are sitting on this exact same time bomb and have absolutely no idea. You need to hit the share button and text this video to them right now. Be the person who saves them from waking up to a flooded living room. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you want the unvarnished truth about how to protect your home and master your plumbing, you need to hit that subscribe button. We are building a community of homeowners, DIYers, and professionals who refuse to be taken advantage of. I'm Roger Wakefield. I will see you out on the next job.
Next time. Yeah, remember? See? Look, they were filling the barrels with the. Remember? Because they were covering.
No, I didn't see them.
I saw this.
You did, I didn't.
What's 5 days ago? Remember? Because they were filling the bottom of the half of the deck, because they want critters filling it,
I didn't watch it.
We probably did or something, And that's not something.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think he's trying to sell that house now they built it.
Yeah.
Someone got your Ring video doorbell.
The secondary wing at 45 White Oak continues to be inspired by hospitality. Each room is designed to be flexible, but really intimate and thoughtful for its occupants. So I want to walk you through bedrooms 2 through 5 and how we really designed the spaces for the bedroom and bathroom to be one unified space. Secondary primary is designed to be kind of multifunctional. We're not chasing square footage, we're chasing the experience and we're chasing the comfort around the occupant in the room. We have it set up as a home office. We see this being kind of really the perfect spot for someone that needs a home office. So whether you want a home office or you need a nursery or you're just looking to extend the primary, we have this connection back to the primary on the front-facing bridge really across the entry. When that door is shut, this can very much function as its own space. You have its main entrance. Upon entering the space, you have built-in wardrobes and their custom cabinets. They can be customized for whoever ends up being in the home, but ultimately they're designed to kind of disappear within the space. If it's used as a bedroom, you can place the bed between the 2 windows. You have space for nightstands. The bathroom was really designed to be part of the bedroom space. So we have these full height doors that open 180 degrees and they sit against the wall. You're capturing additional space, but most importantly, the additional natural light. So you have this really large picture window that gets a tremendous amount of sun throughout the day coming into the bedroom space here. That window is prepped for a shade. The toilet is private, and all of the secondary bedrooms you have a private water closet. And we're really leaning into this hospitality inspiration. The main part of the bathroom, you have this large monolithic slab marble on the floor, which is cohesive with the rest of the spaces in the home. You have this floating all marble vanity. You have that same lip detail that you see in the primary, integrated sink, Vola tapware, and then that's perched right underneath the window. Now, we understood that we need a mirror, and we considered how we would accomplish that. We built these custom slides. It's essentially a drawer turned vertical in which the medicine cabinet is. And what was important in terms of building those is the deflection. If you pull them out, being able to two of them, you actually see their strengths, even if it's an eighth of an inch. Because if they're trying to align with each other and they dip down just a little bit due to the weight, it would look wrong. So we ended up having to work through this and found really heavy duty slides. I think they weighed for a couple hundred pounds. Now the tub is a tub shower combo, and we knew that it's important that the home has at least one, and this felt like the right space to do it. And we ended up doing an undermount tub with full slab marble up the side and across the top. What I love is that the deck is extended into the wall, and we've actually built this one continuous niche on the back wall behind the tub that gives you the extra depth for your toiletries and your shampoo and soaps. And then we jet out a full tile width above that, and then have this beautiful white Zallige tile from floor to ceiling.
Oh, look at that.
Bedroom 3 and 4 end up sharing a bathroom, so it's set up really like a Jack and Jill space. Each bedroom is a mirror image of one another. We have the same finishes in these spaces where we have these built-in wardrobes, full height doors, same white oak ceilings and floors, really large expansive glass, but really a space to retreat, and this is a space of rest and calm. But the difference here is that they share the bathroom between them. You have these full height pocket doors that enter the bathroom on either side, and when they're open, it just feels as though you can kind of flow through. And I often think about it as when the sisters are, or Jack and Jill are friends, the doors are open, and when they need to, they can close the pocket door. So the pocket doors can close and separate the space individually. In this space, we flip the vanity to the center wall, allowing that window to let light into each bedroom through the full height pocket doors. The vanity, nice big oversized sink, custom white oak millwork, and same tapware by Vola, individual drawers and medicine cabinets for each person, and then you have the shower as well as the toilet, both behind these full height frosted doors. The shower and the floor is all one slab of marble. We three-dimensionally milled the top of that slab in the shower so you didn't have the seams, and this is where you're starting to see more of the white Zallige tile. On the back side of the shared bathroom, we actually tucked in the second floor laundry space. So we have a full-size washing machine and dryer, but also a utility sink and a really large extra deep countertop for folding and just for general use of that space. This wasn't intended to be a walk-in laundry room, more of a reach-in laundry space. We ultimately ended up doing these bifold doors on the closet, so when it was opening and when it was being used, the space could be left open and not feel as though it was in the way. So we wanted that flexibility from leaving the space open, but also being able to close it up and having it blend into the bathroom hallway.
Like I say,
Bedroom 5
I like
is tucked all the way in the back.
Yeah, but you almost lost it halfway through the,
almost.
what do you call that show? What do you call that show? MMA?
Personally really love, because when you are in the room and the
I didn't either.
The way the furniture
And I didn't either.
is situated, you get this really great view
like this.
of the house in the backyard.
I said,
Paired with the
"Do
fact
you watching? Do you watching? Do you watching?"
it's really private. It's tucked in the back, at the end of the hallway.
Yeah.
The room itself is very similar to bedroom 2. You're
See how
immediately met with full height wardrobes,
Christians, okay?
all the same finishes,
It's
right
long.
open the floor, the ceilings, this really large windows, and then the bathroom that has these doors that flip 180 degrees. Bathroom features a full shower. The floating vanity is on a solid wall. And this is really where we go all out with the white sleeve tile. It's on the floor, it's on the entire back wall, and it wraps the entire shower. We introduce the marble, the Vermont dandy on the curb, around the niche, and of course, the fully fabricated marble vanity that floats on the back wall. The glass detailing is really interesting here too, because we look at how do we restrain from adding things. So the curb itself was fabricated with a channel for the glass to sit down and in. And as we were tiling, we actually created a channel in the back wall for that glass panel to slip into the wall. From an execution standpoint, that makes it difficult because the glass went in and then we had to finish the tile around in order for us to actually get this true frameless glass. The door for the shower is similar. We knew we had to have hinges, so we kept those the same finish as our tapware, and we did this racetrack opening in the glass. So you can stick your hand in and pull the door open or push the door closed. In the shower, we also installed a really large window, completely frameless, panoramic piece of glass. The window itself has a frosted film up to about shoulder height, which creates the privacy needed for daytime use. All of your light is on the outside of the home. The concern is at nighttime when you're backlighting the bathroom and it's dark outside, you'd have a privacy concern with even a frosted piece of glass. So we end up installing a shade pocket at the very top of the window to allow for a waterproof curtain to drop down if and when necessary, but able to retract it and give you the ability to capture that natural light. All of these secondary bedrooms are really cohesive in terms of the use of materials and the consistency of materials, but really thoughtful in the sense of how someone would utilize this space.
Yep. Especially that house, you know? Ready for Kirsten?
Sure.
Hey, Kirsten! Hey, Kirsten! Where's she? Oh, she's up. I know she's up. There you are. It's 1 minute, see?
Fine. Fine.
Huh?
Fine.
Okay, here we go.
Someone's at your Ring video doorbell.
Sensitive, Mrs. Simon.
20 miles of sun, Tuscan. Tucson.
The silos,
I have 2 daughters.
at what would have been the time, isolated areas. I grew up not that far from some of them, and I had no clue you were out there at all until I started working here. Hi, Amy. Show you guys the map so you can kind of see where they all are. And this is just the 18 that are located in Tucson, Arizona. And you do see that each one feels like it's in the middle of the desert. Yeah, they were very isolated.
Desert flatland outside Tucson, Arizona, the site of a second-generation missile, Titan II. This is the first time Titan II has been filmed. It is the most powerful of the nation's ICBM. It carries several megatons of nuclear destruction, a cataclysm reserved for the most deeply buried enemy targets.
CBM?
ICBM? You will.
Yeah.
Put it into your glasses. Collapsing the tunnel system.
So that's the door, the big door right over there. And these big blocks behind the door was not part of the actual silo. That is something that military had to put in. Because to be able to do this, they had to get it into a treaty with the Soviet Union. They had to be able to look in and see that it was not an active site. At the time, it was a big deal to keep one.
We've seen them covered. I mean, they are covered in other parts.
Yes, they wanted them decommissioned and gone, and that was part of the agreement that ended the Cold War. If you look down, you can actually see that's where the nuclear warhead was set. There's an actual missile in there. It's just a test missile. When you're at the very bottom, it's deep. That's 105 feet.
That's big.
So this is our entry point, and then this takes you into the command center. So this is a 3-story building. Up there is our habitat where the bed and the kitchen are. And then you're going to go down that long cableway to the silo itself. So you have your missile that's suspended here.
So there's a lot more underground.
Yeah, so you're 105 feet here.
So it wouldn't have been easy to know where this is located. It was all underground.
All underground. And there were people that knew about it. There were people that didn't, had no idea what it was, right? And you gotta remember this stood for 21 years. It all depended on how much people were paying attention, honestly. There's a local resident. He's like, we just thought it was this random fence. We could never really see it. So when he actually went down and was like, this is what we've been living next to my whole life, he was very surprised. So the crew that would work on what they called an alert, they would be driven here and dropped off at this gate right over here. And then by the time they got from that gate to this entry portal, they had 3 minutes. And they were given a code. So when they would get to the gate and they would get down these stairs, they'd have to make a phone call. If they did not do it within 3 minutes, security would automatically be called. And that is when a security helicopter or a jeep would show up to make sure everything was okay. So if you were being held against your will, all you had to do was slow down. So it was a really good security protocol for them. So we made 4 phone calls. The first one was right at this door. Says, we're here. We made it. Let us in. Once they gained access to this first door, they made their second phone call. This is where the code would be given through this telephone here and then burned into the coffee can. Once they got access, the code matched, and they were allowed to come into the silo, they would make their way down. This is another security with their phone, but their last phone call would be all the way at the bottom here.
So lots of stairs.
55 stairs, level 2. This is 35 feet underground. And not a lot of people work down here. You had to be able to be underground in a confined space. This messes with you. There's no lights, there's no sound. If the lights go out, the darkness and the quiet is nothing down here. Right now we're standing 35 feet underground. The pressure is different. I don't feel it, but other people do. And they will come down here and immediately say, oh no, I can't do this. And they go right back up the stairs. We have people pass out underground. Like it is a sensory overload down here. Yeah. The fluorescent lights, the smell, the different pressure, it all does affect people. And this is the elevator. We cannot bring people up and down it because this is rated for cargo. This is where they would bring all their
stuff. So many hours ago, they only hear the loud boom around 5 a.m. It shook the house and made the lights switch and off. Just confused all this.
I think it's probably thunder. Yeah.
Like down if they're bringing their blankets, their food.
Probably thunder because we had it too.
What we're standing in is the access portal. And it was not made to withstand a nuclear attack. So if you're standing in here, you're not protected. Okay? This door is our blast lock door. A little heavy, only 6,000 pounds. And it does work on hydraulic hinges. And in order to open this door, you had to time it with the commander who was in the command center. And you had to push the button to get in with this door open at the same time. So you're going to make that last phone call. Hey, we made it. We're ready to come in. All of our supplies are here. And they're going to push that door at the same time, and it's going to allow for the blast box doors to open.
So what happens in these worst case scenarios?
Worst case, you're coming down for a shift, and maybe they're actively got the alert, and they're launching. But yeah, launching. So you're out here. They're not going to let you in because they also have to protect themselves from the missile because there's actually 4 doors. 2 sets of them. So you got this door. Once this closes, then you enter what's called the hardened area. And this is what is is made to withstand a nuclear attack that hits outside of a mile from here. Anything within a mile, sets are off. So it's thick. It's thick. It's about 9 feet. 6 to 9 feet, depending on where we're at in concrete. So this door, you can actually see how easy it moves here. This is that 6,000-pound door. Yeah. And that's very well designed. Yeah. So this is the first set of blast block doors. The second blast block area was to protect the crew from their own missiles.
Titan II is simpler than Titan I. Titan II does not have to be lifted to ground level. It blasts off from deep inside its silo.
So if there was ever an accident or anything that happens, this is going to protect them from what's down there. So that's the missile, and this way is the command center. Yep, this is crew. And as we walk, you'll actually start to see very large screens. So this area is, wow, the command control. Command control, yep, absolutely. So this is the commander's chair, and your deputy is going to sit right over there. And you can see those giant springs that I'm talking about. Those springs are to stabilize this building. So if that missile was launched, this room, this building doesn't move. You could have a cup of coffee when that missile is going out and not even get ripples.
Shock mounting of the entire installation is standard.
Because this whole thing is not attached to anything. No, it's suspended, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And one thing to think too, you're sitting here, you just launched, this is a smoking area. Think of smoke. So there's ashtrays all over in here, because this was the 60s, 70s, 80s. They would smoke down here. And you're in this underground silo. You can only imagine the tension and the smoke.
Life in the claustrophobic capsule is a far cry from the soaring cabin of an 8-jet bomber. But the responsibility is the same.
Is someone always sitting here? Mm-hmm. And you can see no lone zones.
Someone's at your Ring Video
They
doorbell.
were not allowed to be alone anywhere in this facility except upstairs where the beds are. So what did the crew do the whole time they were here? Well, there was downtime for sure, but they also were busy because every 12 hours they did a full check of the silo, top to bottom, every bolt, pins, nut, all of that. So they were busy checking and making sure things stayed in working order, but then they could come up and relax because they're here for an entire day at a time.
Let's say 10 p.m. 10 p.m. was sunset,
Yeah.
Did they sleep? They did.
These
Yes.
are continuing
Were
to
they
get
allowed to?
longer.
Was it like emergency workers in a hospital or something? Yeah, they were allowed to. As long as 2 people were on down there on shift, they could sleep here.
This is a very basic setup.
Very basic. I mean,
Simplest.
yeah, because you're only here for 24 hours. But 24 hours is a long time. But yeah, it was not built for comfort at all. From what I've been told by CMAS that have visited and that actually worked in this silo, the screen came after it became co-ed. So when this first opened, it was males only. And then this was one of the first sites to get female, both officers and enlisted. Again, you see, is that a spring? That's just support. That's just support. So you're in spring. This is like a rubberized material to allow it to move. So it's got a full structure. And it's not soundproof. Like what you're doing up here, they're going to be able to hear down there. And in a rounded, like, so you see, I guess you see there's springs all. Yeah, this building was completely suspended on the springs. Shock isolating suspension. Yeah, you can see the springs there. Kind of all set around level 2. Underground is all of the facilities. So your electrical panels, your sub pump, that's where the escape hatch lives as well.
So they didn't have any TV or anything?
They did. So in here, this is the restroom. So this is the kitchen. So again, ashtrays at the table, set the cars. You can see it's a block from the top. So they
under 25
TV
shows.
Yep. Apparently, the most sought after staff were the ones that knew how to cook. You wanted somebody good on your crew that could make you good.
Last week I was
That's
going
one of the
through
things
the
that and command.
new finds, and they had a little box this big, and I'm looking at it, and it turns out it's a 720p projector.
Yeah.
You know, like the projectors you had at Texas or at school?
Yeah.
That you could do the presentation?
Yeah.
You could, I think you could actually connect a Roku stick to it and basically project a screen. That's cool.
Wait, future home of the Chicago Bears has sprung at the former on-site park racetrack. You know?
What does that mean?
Listen. The fox is too strong, you know?
Oh.
Guess they got the pool boy, you know? You know?
I have to hear it.
It's funky, I see. Maybe it's just a clip, you know? Music, you know? We'll watch it, you know?
When they come through,
I'll watch it.
they were like, you wanted to make sure you had the best cook on your team.
It is a blast from the past.
Yes. It's fun
Blast
to
from
watch
the
school
past.
groups come up here. There we go. But you can see that there is a TV back here.
Oh,
There
wow.
really wasn't like TV connection, so I'm not sure what they were necessarily watching. The cabinets open with them. I never opened them, to be honest.
I mean, that's probably all just was left here. So when they decommissioned,
Coffee,
they left
coffee
everything.
That was definitely left. Yeah, when it was decommissioned, a group of missileers, I believe it was, they lobbied to have this turned into a museum.
But this one was preserved exactly as it is.
Because it was with the understanding that it would become a historical educational facility. So all of this is exactly how it was the day it went off of the work.
Because we've been to a couple people thought, and they are covered over with concrete, filled in with dirt or whatever. They tried to really make them inaccessible. They didn't want people to just climb back in, right?
They did not. And there's a lot of people that are restoring them. But yeah, they've had to do a lot of work. They were taken, I think, concrete poured in some of them. They did not want people getting in them. All of the ones that were decommissioned were stripped out. So the group of missileers, they didn't want that to happen. They wanted to have one stand the way it, stood.
So we're on one side.
Yep, we're on one side. So this is level 2. Down this cableway is what this is called, is where the missile stood, and that's where the mechanical work would take place. Because they would have to work on the missile. So you'll see through this glass door, these are refueling suits. So they would, from time to time, have to take out the propellants and replace them with fresh propellant. And so that's what those suits are. A lot of people think they're space suits, but they are not. They're propellant suits.
Because it's the same effect as a space suit.
Yes. You don't want to breathe that stuff in.
This in here is suspended as well.
Yep, you see, yep. Everything is designed to move, shake with the earth, with the missile, with a blast, whatever it might be. So this is the silo itself, the missile. That's the missile right there. This is a training missile out of Wichita Falls, Texas. All of the ones that were put on alert were removed because they had nuclear warheads in them. It is an actual Titan II.
What? Jump that off already?
Yeah. This one.
Always says dropped off initiated, you know? Since they dropped off, you know? What payment method? What is it going total estimated refund to? Yeah.
But it never had a nuclear warhead in it.
Pennies.
What made a Titan a Titan? The Titan II had the storable propellant. So that was the big thing with these.
Titan II is simpler than Titan I. Titan II does not have to be lifted to ground level. It blasts off from deep inside its silo.
So you have your missile that's suspended here. This is level 7. And then level 8 is the bottom.
So there's a lot more in the ground.
Yeah, so you're 105 feet here. So we were at 35 feet. And then you have this, which is called the W. That's where the water pours in and takes steam. So, and what would happen when it actually would take off, it was going to dump cool water in.
Confine the roar of those mighty engines inside a silo, and maybe sonic vibrations would shake the missile into bits.
So there is a whole water cooling system in the back that's going to dump in so that the water mixing with the fire would create steam. So if you ever see a launch, you'll see what looks like people think is smoke coming out. It's actually steam. Steam would dampen the noise and the sound of this actually taking off and keep it from not only rattling itself apart, but rattling the silo apart as well.
Is this also suspended around here?
No, this is most likely caving in if this launches.
It's a one-use deal.
Maybe not fully caving. It is a one-use. Yeah, one-use.
Did the people know what was happening out there?
From my understanding, it was publicized because they didn't want to hide the missile because they want people to know it's there and we can
have deterrence.
Yes, of deterrence. It
saw in the paper. And these are theoretically the original colors. It was painted seafoam green because at the time the Air Force thought it was a calming color, so it would help calm nerves. So that's what we've been.
Some items, Blu-rays. Some Blu-rays will have. Yeah. Except for the Wizard of Oz, you know. Yeah. You know, some in 26, that'll do 22, 23, you know?
Hold by the... Yellowstone.
What?
You say you took out Yellowstone?
Yeah. What's this 1923? A Yellowstone origin story, you know? Season 1, you know?
Text that would change it. All very deliberate every time. Everything was very deliberate. And were crew walking through here very often? Did they go check the missile? Yeah, every 12 hours they're doing it top to bottom, and it would take hours to try to make sure that everything was working. So at any given moment, it could launch without issue. When the message comes, you're going to hear it throughout this whole 3-story building. So say everyone's in here, right? And they got the message.
Keep going.
So that's what they would do. So the commander and the deputy would have notebooks.
Someone got your Ring video doorbell.
What they heard. They would then swap. Because if you notice, that message came across twice. So you write it down. I'm going to now give you my notebook. I'm going to take yours. We're going to write it down again, and then we're going to compare and make sure it's accurate. That then is going to tell them what to do. Is it a test? Is it the real thing? That could just be telling them to switch targets. So at that point, once they say, okay, we know that that was the code, the correct code that we need to open our EWO safe, Emergency World Order. The locks on this are the commander and the deputy. So every shift change, these locks would get changed out. The only people who knew the code to it was the commander and the deputy. So what would happen is when you're switching shifts, the commander that's leaving would take their lock off, and the new commander would put it on, and then the deputies would do the same thing. So it's always stay locked until they've got the message. At that point, they've confirmed, yes, we both agree we need to open the safe. They would open the safe, and they would pull out, I heard they were called cookies, which just were envelopes that had different letters on it, and it would give them their orders of what they were to do. Were they to launch? Were they to switch targets? Whatever it was, right? They would have a code. They would have a code again. Yeah, it's all code. Once they've agreed, okay, that's the code, we're launching, it would take about, from the time that message came in to the time the missile launched, about 3 minutes to do everything. So once they turned the key, 53, 51 seconds, less than a minute to launch. That is what made Titan 2, it was able to launch in less than a minute from the time that key was turned. Previous missile systems, they would take a lot longer because they did not have storable propellant. The Titan 2 solved the problem of being able to store propellant, and it's because of this right here. This is the butterfly valve lock. This would keep those propellants separated. What would happen is in that message that was sent, there was a butterfly valve lock number. The BMAT would enter this, the ballistic missile analysis technician would enter the code in here. If it's the correct code, it's going to tell this to open. And it's going to open, and it's going to allow those propellants to mix. And that's what's going to then launch the missile.
Let's say within a minute you get a contradiction of orders, like you start launching, but then you have to abort. Could they abort?
Once it's turned, no. Once that key is turned, you cannot. So that means it's on its own power system. It's detached from the silo. Stoplight, the doors are opening. That's when you're going to start filling of the stuff because the doors are opening.
If you ever sat with me watching
Guidance system,
SpaceX,
it knows where it's going, so it knows its target. Then
the last
they're going to
minute,
fill this because this is
you'll
going to
hear
be
them say, "Computer's taking control."
Yeah.
Steam. And now it's liftoff. Yep, and now it's gone. We know that that never happened. We never watched. Titan did its job. No, we never had to use it. But the whole point of this system was deterrence, right? Mutually assured destruction, MAD, is what nuclear war is about, right? You launch on us, we're launching on you, and nobody wins. The deterrence of it is we know we're going to be destroyed too. So Titan did its job.
And then spring here would help.
Keep this still. Yep, they've got their blast lock closed, and then they're going to be stable while it takes off.
So this is going to different control was designed to be used before the modern telecommunication and the internet. So how was it connected to the President of the United States?
So this here and over was everything that they managed. And so what would happen is they used to get this punched tape. This is what used to tell the missile where to go. It's highly secretive, so no one can read that. And so this was the guidance system for the missile.
So that's a punch card.
It's a punch card, yeah.
So it's analog
Slide to
computing,
Russia, take a
basically,
left at
right
Moscow.
before modern electronics.
Exactly. However, as technology changed, this became outdated and it got
My dad's
replaced with
factory
an
was using that
actual
kind of
computer
tape.
system.
To tell the machines where to cut
Well,
the metal.
it was built to be a deterrent, but it also, it's clear it worked. You know, so
Tie-in did its job. When we get the question quite a bit is, oh, but it never launched, so it didn't do its job. And it's like, no, it did its job. The point was to never launch.
you see it's real.
Oh yeah.
Also a missile, you know?
And there's an emergency shower. Oh yeah, they're dealing with very toxic chemicals in here, the propellants and things. So they needed to have emergency showers so that they could protect themselves.
Notice they have showers
right there, and they're
on
all
every level
coming out
there.
all around.
Like in our back
The
shower
18
there, where you
sites
turn
at
on
each of the three locations are still there.
Yep.
It's just whether or not people are trying to access them or not. I know here, I believe there's 2 silos that people have at least gotten into the command center, but down there is almost impossible to get into.
See those people walking? They're doing a tour, you know? Those people on?
Somebody had the foresight to sort of protect this right away, because otherwise it would have been filled in. So I will tell you, we speak to a lot of people that work on, a lot of people come in the tour that were a BMAT or a facilities tech or a commander at some point in this. They did a year or 2 years down in the silo, and they love this place. So they wanted to, a lot of people wanted to see it protected. I always say it smells like my grandma's basement. Growing up in the Midwest, and it was always, you know, that underground smell. So for me, it's, I like it down here, but it brings up a memory, right?
You go back upstairs. And fade.
What if they get up there and everything is gone and just destroyed? It's just rocks and weed. Oh, look at this rocks. It's fun, Colbert.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let's retire.
I'll listen to this.
Why don't I record it, you know? Check.
Don't worry about it.
And just check, alright? Cool, right? My stuff. Nope, I record it, you know? See?
It's okay.
You know? You retire for the night? I'll watch some movies, you know? Oh, can you bring my movies in? That's in the bedroom? The Blu-rays? I'll bring my Blu-rays over, you know? Which is surround. Okay, take your time, but hurry up. Give me some prospects, man. If you can, you know? Yeah. Good prospect.
Someone's at your Ring video doorbell.
Okay. The hut bolt. Here. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, it's a cherry, right?
Yeah, there's more.
I hope there's more. What was that? Huh? Huh? You don't have to tuck me in yet, you know?
Yeah.
Just put it over here. I'll put that up there. I'll put it over here, you know? I'm gonna watch it, you know?
Someone's at your Ring video doorbell.
Just get this out of the way. Okay. Split high. Sticky. Oh, wow. Okay. Chunk.
Listen.